Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
My name is Bryce. I'm a graphic designer, and I pride myself on my attention to detail. It's a necessary trait in my line of work, but also a part of who I am. I like things ordered, consistent. That's why the first flicker of unease, months ago, was so unsettling. It started small. I was sure I'd left my favorite coffee mug, the one with the cracked handle, on the drying rack. But there it was, perched on the shelf above the sink, handle intact. I chuckled, figuring Diana must have put it away and grabbed a different one. She's not as particular as me. Then, the next morning, the mug was back on the drying rack, crack and all. I thought maybe I'd dreamt the whole thing. Then came the painting, a print of a famous street scene hanging in our living room. I'd stared at it 1,000 times. But one Tuesday, the red awning on the cafe in the foreground was undeniably blue. I paused, rubbing my eyes. It had always been red. I mentioned it to Diana. She looked at me blankly. "It's always been blue, Bryce. Matches the accent pillows." She was right. The pillows were blue, but I swore. The changes grew bolder. A specific scratch on our old oak coffee table, a result of a clumsy moment with a beer bottle during a movie night, vanished. Gone. I ran my fingers over the spot where it should have been. Smooth wood. I brought it up to Diana again, pointing to the unmarked surface. She just gave me a worried look and suggested I was working too hard. That's when I started making notes. Small, discreet reminders, dates, specific details, like how the T key on my laptop keyboard had a barely perceptible chip on the corner. I even took a blurry photo of it. A week later, that chip was gone. Not smoothed over, just never there. The photo on my phone showed a perfectly pristine key. My own evidence was betraying me. My routine, my solid, predictable routine, began to fray. My usual morning coffee shop, the daily grind, suddenly had a different barista, a quiet woman with a nose ring instead of the cheerful student I'd chatted with for years. I asked her about the previous barista. She just smiled, said she'd been working there for months. I knew her face. It was new. One afternoon at work, my colleague Sheldon asked me about the Jenkins project. "Remember," he said, "your idea for the segmented layout? Brilliance." I smiled and nodded, playing along, but my mind was blank. We didn't have a Jenkins project, or we hadn't. When I got back to my desk, I found a folder on my desktop labeled Jenkins Layouts. Inside were files, half-finished, with my name on them. They looked like my work, but I had no memory of starting them. The project I had been working on yesterday, a branding campaign for a local bakery, was nowhere to be found. The real terror set in when it started affecting Diana. We were planning a trip to the coast, a repeat of our first getaway together. I remembered a specific moment, sitting on a rocky outcrop overlooking the ocean where she'd worn a faded yellow sundress. I mentioned it to her, reminiscing about how the wind had caught her hair. She looked confused. "Yellow? No, honey, I wore that deep green linen dress. You loved that dress, remember?" And suddenly, in my mind, the dress was green. The memory shifted, warped, became green. I felt a cold dread clawing at my throat. I started searching for anything, any explanation. Online forums, conspiracy theories, nothing quite fit. Then, late one night, deep in the archived folders of an old, mostly forgotten email account I hadn't used in years, I found it. An email, from me, sent 3 weeks ago. The subject line was chilling. "It's SDARTING again, don't let it take her." The body of the email was a single attachment. A grainy photo of Diana and me, standing on that rocky outcrop, her in a yellow sundress, her face full of youthful joy. It was the photo from my memory, the original memory. My hands trembled as I opened my photo album on my phone, scrolling to the same date. There it was, a picture of us on the same outcrop, but Diana was in a green dress. And her face was slightly different. Still Diana, but a subtle shift in the curve of her jaw, the shape of her eyes, a shadow of a person I almost didn't recognize. I looked at the original photo from the email again, and then back at my phone. 2 Dianas, 2 realities. I rushed to the bathroom, flipping on the light, staring at my reflection. My own face stared back, familiar but wrong. The lines around my eyes seemed deeper, my nose a fraction straighter, my hair a shade darker. It was my face, undeniably, but it wasn't the face in the email. As I watched, horrified, my reflection shimmered. For a split second, I saw him, the Bryce from the yellow sundress photo. Younger, a little softer, a genuine smile. Then, with a shudder, my current face snapped back into place. My reality, his reality, which one was real? I'm writing this now, the email still open on my laptop, the two photos side by side. Deanna is asleep in the next room, oblivious. To her, everything is normal. My current reality is her normal. But I remember, I am Bryce, but not entirely. And I don't know who the me from that email was, or what it is, or if it has already taken her, or if it will eventually take me entirely. The note said, don't let it take her. But how can I fight something that rewrites the past itself? I keep checking the mirror. Each time, I wonder if the face looking back will still be mine, or just another ghost of what I once was. I just wish I knew what happened to the Bryce who sent that email, and if he's still out there somewhere.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.